Welcome back to Hot Rod Guy Garage. This is going to be another episode on this 65 Mustang. So follow me along through the intro, and I'll be back. So guys, there's not been a whole lot going on since the last video. I have been working on a little bit in the background, but I haven't been able to put a whole lot of time into it. Most because I've been working on getting Torino ready for the No Name Nationals. So I'll flip the camera around, I'll show you where I'm at, and we'll see where we go from there. Daisy out here doing cat things this morning. So we left off our last video with fitting everything up with front valance and stuff like that. I went in here and I started body working top of this fender. Still got some straightening up to do with it. Still need to finish the body work on this fender. I've said it for like 2 videos now. I'm fixing to get on that. We'll work on this headlight bucket in this video. Get this fender knocked out. As you can see, we have another new addition. I have been working on figuring out how I'm going to mount those. I just sprayed a little primer on them because they were white and stood out like a sore thumb. But I got them kind of fitted up pretty decently. Just trying to figure out how I'm going to permanently mount these. And back here in the back, he brought me another bumper. I'm not real sure if I can do anything with it. It is kind of twisted and bent in some weird ways. So hopefully I can get that fitted up. I had somebody comment about taillight fitment in the video. I literally have these just sitting in here, and there's going to have to be some adjustments made there also. So that's it, guys. I need to work on that fender. I've been putting it off because I know it's rough. And I knew what Joey's other side of the fender was, the body work. But today's the day, and I'm going to get that finished up. It's really not all that much. I've already got the top roughed out, so it's more or less this side and where I shaved the emblem holes. Then we move on from there. And this is one of those moments where guide code is important because it shows you all these places. Like where weld these emblem holes up, or this dent up here in front of this fender at the headlight bucket, or this dent right here on the body line, or these 3 little dents right here. A little bit of guide coat can show you a lot of things, like this right here. Got a wavy section right here, little dent there, where I welded up these lower emblem holes where they had them in the wrong spot. And that is why I guide code everything until I'm done with the final body work. Right there. Because you guys in the field work together to do the body work. Sand, 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 sand. Yep. Like I said, generally these last few videos been a lot of not fun stuff to watch. And that's because a lot of it's not fun stuff to do. Trust me, I'd rather do other things than sand for hours. And yes, I know there's air tools. You can do it with air tools. You can do it by hand. Where the shoot fits you is all I can say. So just cleaned up some spreaders and stuff. Got the fender pretty much roughed in at this point. Fixing to skim coat the lower section of it where I welded up the rocker panel trim clip holes. And apparently throw my spreader down in an oil bucket, which isn't cool. So get that one cleaned off. But this video is probably not going to be real exciting. So I'm just going to try to get this fender straightened out. Figure out what I'm doing with these side scoops, I think. And rear bumper, still up in the air, I guess, because the one he brought me is, I don't know if I can use it or not. It's worked pretty bad. If it was just rusty chrome and if I just had a little twist to it, maybe so, but this one is, it's bent in about 4 different directions. And I didn't notice it the other day, but it's pretty bad. May have to use both these to make him one bumper for his car. Well, you got this gap straightened up mostly around through here. It's good enough for some high build primer. Fender's Bodywork, good enough for some high build. Headlight buckets work good enough for some high build. The front bumpers work good enough for some high build. So need to figure out what we're doing with those side scoops and that back bumper back there. And we gotta get this hood back in the equation sometime real soon. And the hood still ain't got sandblasted, so that's something that's gonna have to happen like soon. So I still ain't figured out how I'm attaching side scoops. I'll probably get some body panel adhesive at the local paint supply store. Probably bond them to the car and bolt them to it. Just gonna be the best version of the fitment for his car. So I gotta figure out this back bumper situation. Well, here's one of them points where everybody's gonna tell me, well, your taillights fit all screwed up and your core extensions don't fit right. Like I said, this stuff's loose. So I whacked this bumper off. And just the width of the cutoff wheel was enough to bring it where the body lines match up here with the quarter extension and the bumper. So that'll fix one problem here. But the other problem we got is this big old monstrous gap. So let me get this spotted on there and figure out what I'm going to do. So that's spotted up, and as you can see, our body line lines up now versus this side where our body line does not line up. So doing that also created another problem. I took about a 1/4 inch out of that bumper and twisted this up just a hair. So what that created was a loss of thickness in this area. So more than likely going to split this bumper, pull it out a little bit when I weld something along this edge to fill up our side gap, which on a side note isn't as bad as it was, but it's still as bad as it is. So like I said, guys, all this stuff's loose. So, you know, I'm just working on trying to get, you know, all this stuff kind of jive together. So that's what I need to do on the ends to get them in, then I can work on the edges. Well, it's another day, and I stopped by the local parts house to see if I couldn't get some more epoxy primer, and they're out again. 2 weeks in a row. I gotta get the fenders and the front stuff sealed, along with the rear half. And places where I went back in, I need to get this stuff sealed up. But today, we got that rear bumper straightened out yesterday. I'm pretty happy with actually the side gaps in it. It's pretty acceptable, I think. So I'm gonna pull the quarter extensions off, or at least the passenger side, and fix around this taillight bezel. I had some people say something about that in a previous video. I've not went in there and bodyworked some of this small stuff. I've been trying to get the mask done. So I gotta go back in there, straighten some small things out. I'll show you these side scoops. I gotta go in here and fix the passenger side because I dropped it in the floor and actually chipped the gel coat off of it in a couple places. So gotta pull it off, get it addressed and straightened back out, and then we can go from there. So when I went in here and mounted these, there's really no good way to mount these side scoops, these aftermarket ones. And I tried a couple different ways, which is going to end up being some more work for me in the end, especially on this side, because I was originally going to bolt them to the quarters around the perimeter. So I went in here and drilled a bunch of holes, and then realized that the fiberglass was too fragile to actually bolt up to the car in that way. So I come in here with an alternate method. Some of you probably ain't gonna like that, but I drilled 2 holes in the center here. I gotta address all these others. And I bonded 2 studs into the side scoop. So they're good and strong. I actually bond them straight to the fiberglass. I ground the fiberglass down in there, passed gel coat, and just laid some resin and mat over, and just done some bolts in there. And just simply drilled 2 holes here, and nut bolt and washer, and they bolt on. So that said, I tried to make it as neat as I could. Tried to make it as least intrusive as I possibly could. And sometimes that's just not the case. So originally I drilled a bunch of holes around through here and I was going to bolt them on. Well, as you see, that didn't work. I don't know what kind of resin they used on these side scoops. Now these side scoops come from California Pony Cars through CJ's Pony Parts, just like the front valance. The front valance is not fragile and brittle like this is, but this piece is super fragile. And if you wonder what I'm doing, I'm sanding the edges while I'm talking. So, not real impressed with side scoops. They do fit the car great though. Just like the front piece, it fits great. These fit awesome too. So, I'm not going to complain about the fit. Just complaining about the resin's brittleness. Maybe they put too much hardener in this one and made it brittle. Usually fiberglass, you can beat it with a hammer and it don't really affect it all that much. It's a fairly strong, rigid stuff. So I'm gonna get this side scoop repaired. I'm going here, I'm gonna fix these quarter panels where I drilled all them holes in it. Which shouldn't be a big deal at this point because I just go back in there and dot them up with a welder, hit them with flat disc, because you're not gonna see them because this bolts over top of them. Well, we got that side scoop bolted back on. We have a pretty decent gap around these things. As long as they're attached securely, there shouldn't be no issues without even bonding them to the car or anything. I'll probably go in here with some body panel adhesive and just run a light bead around through here before we paint the car, just to seal this gap. But shouldn't be no body work to the quarter. And that'll just help hold all this stuff on where I bottomed them on. I went there with some black paint and fogged the inside of the thing just to see what it looked like. See if them studs would disappear, and they do. It looks pretty decent like that. So I've got the other side off. I went and fogged the inside of it black, scuffed around the edge and primered it. And done some work on the other side quarter and that cove. And hopefully it'll fit as good as this one does. But like I said, it's sad the fiberglass stuff on this car fits better than the steel does. So they fit good. They had bad reviews on these. I'm sure if they sat in a box for a while, they'd probably warp. But these fit the car really, really well. Well, we got the other side scoop bolted on there. These things, like I said, they fit reasonably well. Around the cove area, I did have to trim them off up here. I used a sanding block to flatten them out. But once it's painted in there, you can't see studs at all, which is nice. So that's probably going to be a good solution for that. We went ahead and stuck the hood back on here. Still haven't got it all the way sandblasted. He was having blaster problems, so I at least set it back on the car where I could look at this hood scoop and see if I couldn't get it mocked up and maybe go ahead and get it mounted to the hood. This is a steel GT350 style scoop, so it'll be easy to attach the steel hood. But you can kind of see what I was going for at this point. If you ignore the blue on the hood. But I think it will come together and look pretty clean. And it's like spitting rain today. We were actually going to try to finish blasting this hood. Couldn't get no primer this morning. And it's spitting rain on and off all day. So at least mock it up and may go ahead and see if I can't get that addressed. Because I'm going to cut that hood open under that scoop so it's actually functional. And figure out how I'm going to attach it to the hood. I thought about riveting it on. Kind of like the AC Cobras. That way it had that look. Just not sure that's the route I want to go. Could also put nut inserts in it and bolt it on. Maybe put some nice Allen heads all the way around it, or I could just weld it on and mold it to the hood. So let me know down in the comments below what you would do, and we might figure that out. On a side note, it is nice to see a hood that's not all rotted out up here in the front. It did have a little Bondo in it, but it's not all rusty. Which I always say I'll weld these up. All around them holes. Might go ahead and do that. I'll figure out what we're doing here. Good thing about this hood scoop is it covers up the holes from the old hood scoop almost perfectly. So just got to figure out how we're going to mount that. But the hood, like I said, it's just sitting on here. Looks like we're going to have a decent hood gap where the fenders are. It gets a little wider back there at the cowl, but that's that old poor fender. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in these because of the condition of them, but we'll just try to get it all the best we can. Like I said 100 times, this is going to be a driver quality paint job. And yes, I have spent a little more time on some of the gaps than I should have, but I want him to have a decent car. So let me figure out what we're doing here, and we'll go from there. Well, as you can see, get your factory red oxide primer. There's gold paint and then some gray primer and then blue paint. So, considering this car's factory gold, I'd assume this is the factory hood off this car. Or off another factory gold car, because that's the factory red oxide. Then we get some of that gold like we seen on the dash under there. So it's coming out pretty easy, so I may just go ahead and buzz the top of this off and we just blast the bottom. Moral of the story here is I've done scraped about 10 layers of other paint off with a razor blade to get down to this blue. So see if I can't get this off here, and we'll see what we can do with this hood scoop from there. Well, we've got about 90% of paint off, except for what's under the hood scoop and just some remnants of some of the old red oxide primer. But I sprayed a little clear on that gold just to see if I couldn't get a representation of an image of what color gold it's supposed to be. But definitely a factory gold because it's over the factory red oxide. And then the gray primer, and then blue, and then red over top of it. So I know the clear is just rattle can stuff, but it brings out the color a little bit. So that's pretty reminiscent of the gold paint I found on the dash and other places in the car. And I got blue paint, look like a Smurf at this point. But this gives us an idea kind of what color the car was factory, I guess. I'm going to assume this is probably the original hood, at least because the gold matches. Don't mean it is. So let's get this hood scoop mocked up on here and see what we can do from there. So it looks a little better sitting on there without all that blue paint on it. You see, weld all these holes up. Hit them with flat disc. Obviously they're going to need some filler because we got some dents in here too. But the old hood's rough because they drilled all the holes for that other hood scoop. That 68, 69 bolt-on hood scoop I had on it. This is actually a lot cleaner looking and goes with our theme of what we got going on. So I think it'd be the way to go. Well, it's hard to get visual, so I went ahead and just dusted that hood with a little Transtar. It's translucent, but from a distance it looks like it's gray like the rest of the hood. And I God coded it too, just for giggles. Just so it matched the fenders better. And like I said, it's translucent. It's not very thick. I just done enough where I could kind of get a visual from a distance. Because it's hard when you got stuff that's different colors. It plays mind games with you. And sometimes makes things look bigger or smaller than what they're supposed to be. So what I've done, I went in here with some self-tappers and I just screwed this scoop to the hood to try to get a visual of it bolted down and see what it looked like. I've not cut anything out. I've just literally stuck it up there, just try to, like I said, just to get a visual. And I kind of like it bolted down, but I kind of like it molded in too, so I don't know. So guys, that's going to be a decision he's going to have to make, how we attach that. I wanted him to have a good visual representation of what the car would look like before paint. So that's where we're at this point. So that's probably where I'm going to leave this video off. It's about lunchtime on Friday. I really have like 7 days to No Name Nationals to get the Torino finished up and ready. I did drive to the shop and I got a few things I need to do, like change oil and just go over everything under the car and make sure everything's good. So that said, if you haven't yet, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button because about 80% of y'all are not subscribers. It costs absolutely nothing, but it does help me knock a little time off his labor bill. If you are a subscriber, I greatly appreciate you guys. So does the customer. So until the next time, I'll see you at the next video. Thanks for watching.